common test will be 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So try to be here earlier, like 6:45. It's a close common test. Um, this section, this particular section, will not be, I think will not be tested. I don't think I said any test question coming up from these few slides. But just want to go through and share, especially if you have encountered similar colleagues, problems, and how do you resolve such situation, conflict management. So I have inserted the, imagine you are the senior manager, or you are the property manager. So you have 4 different staff, 4 different executive reporting. So you have been working for, I think majority of us have been working for quite some time, except for you, just coming to course. You see many different kind of colleagues, some who are very competitive, some very kiasu, just want to make sure his portion is covered. So some are very collaborative, depends. You have good colleagues, bad colleagues, bosses, evil bosses. But you can't choose your colleagues, you can choose your friends. You also cannot choose your boss. So in this scenario, colleague A heard about this repainting exercise. The boss need help. And of course, the 4 of them really have their day-to-day operation. So colleague A heard about this from another manager and straight away volunteer to assist in order to, you want to learn. So in order to learn more, you want to assist, you volunteer. Actually the answer may be here, but we talk about the answer later. So colleague B also happened to know that colleague A has volunteered. And informed that actually colleague A very busy. And because he is not very experienced, so he already done some mistake on his existing project. And then, Psycho the manager, I think he should not get colleague A involved in this project. But I can do. He volunteered to do, but provided somebody else take over a little bit of his existing daily tasks. Because all of them already loaded with operational stuff. This is like ECA, especially last time when I was managing portfolio of a project, ask for innovation, extra work. Basically, nobody want to volunteer. Of course, there are some who volunteer, some who exactly the same. Some volunteer, some say, hey, very busy day, but I think we can do. But can you get a relief or get an intern, get somebody to cover while we focus on this project? You also have colleague C type. Colleague C is quite okay. He said he will try, although he is busy with his workload, but he is willing to give it a try. Then you also have colleague D, straight away, wow, big project coming, want to escape, quickly apply, quickly MC, quickly adopt meeting. Have encountered this kind of people in the course of this 4 different types. Broadly, we have classified these 4 different kinds of and the answers are already inside. This is diagram chart about. So we have our cooperation for those who are, for those colleague A will be very collaborative. He will be ranked in this top right corner where we have a proactive and high cooperation. Something like appraisal. We have boxes for those who have very complicated appraisal system. We have boxes, then we have point scoring systems, and then the boss will decide where are you, and allocate bonuses according to where you are. If you are here, low cooperation, reactive type. If you are box here, then the bonus is lower compared to the other one, the green one. Same for your appraisal system. So by applying this, if you are interested to read more on how to resolve conflict management by understanding what kind of colleague you are working with, you can go to this. The source is here. If you want to read more, if you cannot sleep, open and read 30 minutes. After that, you feel sleepy. So, but how do we identify, apply? This portion, I don't know. Later, I need to check my common text question to see whether this one is included. The earlier one, the box one, don't have. But over here is something on resolution. How do you resolve conflict? By applying, understanding the kind of people that you are dealing with. For example, the last candidate, last colleague D, who straight away want to apply with, want to avoid. And his pattern is want to avoid conflict. Don't want to volunteer, want to avoid, don't want to confront the problem. Can it be used to apply in your course of work? It's not say that it cannot be used, but the problem will not be solved. But sometimes you don't need to solve the problem solved by itself after a few days. Somehow after a few days of no action from you, the problem solved by itself. For example, people lost and found handphone for new iPhone, and this complainant is some big shop who is very kanchong, very picky, but he left his phone in the toilet, came to your FCC or came to your security counter to report a lost and found, want to view CCTV, who in the toilet. But we cannot let any other member of public just view CCTV like this, right? We need, you want to view CCTV, you go and make a police report, the police will come and view the CCTV and investigate. Not you who request and then we allow you to check the CCTV, no matter who you are. I don't care who you are, that is the SOP, that's the process. So ding dong, email here and there, complainant very angry, can use the phone. So you follow SOP, you want to do anything, you avoid. The next day, the phone found. Somebody called him, return the problem solved. You didn't do anything. He also didn't make any police report. Problem solved. Still, you still can use it. Doesn't mean that you can't use it. But sometimes problem doesn't solve. Most of the time, if you apply this concept, the problem will not solve. So how do you use it? Another example, how do you use it? Condominium always have this, not always, most of the condos sometimes have, sometimes don't, depending on your size of the condominium. So residents always complain about shit. After that, the owner never pick up the dog food. Anyhow, let the dog pass away, never retrieve back the dog shit and throw. And then people take picture, take video, complain to the management office. It's a very small issue. Common but small issue. And this complaint start to become more frequent. And only one particular resident aiming that particular dog. Maybe don't like that particular dog. Maybe the dog barks at the resident before or try to bite the resident before somehow. So this complainant aim this dog. So every time 7 p.m. go down to the common area, then you check. This is a tenant. The complainant is a tenant. The dog owner also tenant. Both not owner of the condominium. And this, of course, we have the tenancy agreement. You know, that's why you don't both of them is tenant. And the dog owner actually, the lease actually expiring in next month. So you can use this because you know that you don't need to confront because the bylaw never say must retrieve the dog shit. But no bylaw, you may not consider to be in bylaw next time. But you also don't want to confront the resident or the owner. Then very easy because you know after 1 month the problem will be solved because this dog owner is going on. So that's also one way you can apply this avoiding conflict resolution style when you deal with your tribal problem. It depends the appropriate use or when you don't want to confront the complainant because there will be massive disruption. You may want to, let's say you want to do something, you have to highlight the council about this, then come up with a bylaw, send circular, a lot of work to do. Something like that, but not talking about auction. So when disruption is very costly, if you choose to confront, then you decided not to do anything, not to confront the problem. Or when you have no chance of winning, why do you want to go and bang more when you know that very difficult to win? That's what happens. So if you want to adopt this competing conflict resolution style, somebody win, somebody lose. There are also people like that, very high assertiveness. Seek to make his own result outcome at the expense of other people. He just want to win. Very competitive, just want to win. I don't care you lose. No, very low cooperativeness. Ever deal with this kind of people. That's what you do. Not your boss, your boss should be deal with colleagues, peers who always think that they are right. They want to use their method, their way of doing things. Why do they do it? And how can we do it? If you are the, I think some of you are the FSM, safety manager. If there is a fire, you need to do something. You need to, call the FCC, confirm fire, activate fire brigade, or you need to say, I need to evacuate the building. Do you want to wait and argue with anyone or seek minimum consent to evacuate the building when you know that there's a big fire? You need quick, decisive action. You need to win. Then you use this way of resolving conflict. Or if you are the boss, big boss asks you for cost cutting. Can you check with your team or your vendor if can we reduce price? No. Straight away you think of something, cut contract cost 5%, 10%. How? Either you renegotiate or you cut the quantity. There's only a few ways to do it when it comes to cost cutting. Let's say you have 5 commission. Then the boss say cut cost. You call the vendor, hey, can I reduce 10% of your contract cost? I'll tell you automotive price increase, labor price increase, this one 3 years contract, already start, already low, no margin, etc. etc. What else do you do? Cut admission from 5 you cut to 4%. Anyone time? How's your thing? You know how profit? No. My last team at semiconductor was 15 years and 15 years. Because semicon goes up very fast. So when it comes to the downturn, procurement don't care. Just tell my boss, I want to reduce contract cost by 5%. Uniform, of course. Procurement just tell my boss at least, just do it. I don't care how you do it. Management want to see a 5% minimum across the board. So procurement give my boss a task to reduce the contract cost by 5%. So my boss checked with me because I came from property management background. So he is a deputy director, facility side. But they manage very hard facilities in terms of like aircon, all the critical equipment. So he said he want to reduce elevator mid contract. We have a few buildings. We have 3, 4 brands of different brands of building A, maybe ABC brand, building B, another brand, building C, another brand. But only a few lift. One building only maybe 4 lift, 2 passenger, 2 service, for example. Very little. Then my boss say, arrange a meeting with a lift vendor, we negotiate with them. Each different lift vendor. Then I tell my boss, if OEM proprietary, they won't reduce cost, very difficult one. Don't need to talk to them. But no choice, right? Because management say want to cut cost. So we agree. And surprisingly, Every lead company reduce. Surprisingly, but before the negotiation, I don't believe that can be reduced before the negotiation. So when my boss meet them, tell them, hey, cost keep going up, like salary, the contract cost keep going up, never come down. Right? And then my boss tell them, downturn now, I need to cut costs. You need to give me discount. I've been supporting you for the past 10 years. We never talk about cost reduction. So now there's a downturn in the semiconductor industry. We need to reduce costs. Can you help me give me a minimum 5% of the contract price for this year? Contract already signed, signed 3-5 years kind of contract. Suddenly we want to reduce costs, big way. All the big companies somehow agree to support, although a few leave to me. And maybe 5%, 5,000 is minimum. 5,000 per month, 5% is $250. Minimally, but all agree, to my surprise. All agree, all supported, reduced by 5% or more for that particular year. So of course, we also partner, collaborate with them. When the situation improves, we will restore back to the previous contract price, which is higher, and we may work with slightly higher incremental side. Now you help me next time when industry, when my margin pick up, I will be more open to increase price now. That is the carrot lah. So we managed to do this. So accommodating conflict resolution style. So very high degree of cooperativeness. So you go back to your just now report. Very high accommodating cooperativeness. So they accommodate. They accommodate at their own expense. It depends on how you want to use it. Sometimes we have colleagues accommodate too much. They keep on taking in additional value because they try to help. Good people try to help. Until one day they cannot take it, or until one day they keep on making mistakes. Instead of more help, you give me more problem. Because he's overloaded. Because he tried to help. Not his work, he also do. And then his own work never do properly. It all depends on how we can use different conflict resolution style at different times. Of course, if you think that other people, like if you have new projects, important project, which is more important than day-to-day operation issue, then you help out because it's more important than whatever you are doing now. And you want to continue the group relationship with whoever is asking for help. That is your accommodating conflict resolution style. It's similar to this compromising conflict resolution style. Last time, before I teach this, I thought it's good to compromise. Because you win, I win. Everybody give a little bit. You win a bit, I win a bit. But when I read further, It's actually it can also be a lose-lose situation. Do you all agree? I like pizza, you also like to eat pizza. I want to buy and eat one whole pizza. You also want to eat one whole pizza. But we got we only got enough for one pizza. Enough money for one pizza. Then how? If you use the competing one, I just want to win. I want to make sure I eat first, I eat finish, I finish the pizza. But in the compromising conflict resolution, each person compromise. You eat half, I eat half. So instead of one pizza, you eat half a pizza. Are you happy? You're not happy. I'm also not happy. Because I want to eat one pizza, but in the end, because both of us got not enough money, we only eat half. Both not happy. So is it a lose-lose? Of course, that's a very simple analogy. Example. It can be a lose-lose kind of situation because each compromise. Make what happened in the result, both not happy because of food. I eat half, you eat half. These are the appropriate uses. No, can think yourself. Nothing very big. So it's something like a middle. You go back, your compromising. Here. Half here cooperativeness, half assertiveness. The last one. This is again the best way to resolve conflict. But it is easier said than done. When the issues are very complex, you need to come up with a very good idea. How do we collaborate with Malaysia on the high-speed rail? The concerns are very complex. So we need to have win-win. So if you use the high-speed rail for Malaysia, Singapore as compromising, each person compromise, then the railway station maybe neither here nor there. Malaysia want to put their high-speed rail at certain location, Singapore want a better location. Then the railway station will never be built. Very difficult to achieve a win-win for both, but it's not impossible. And it takes time. It takes time to come up with a solution. It's not as simple, you can play the solution somewhere. Okay, that is your workplace conflict management. There is a lot of books written on this. If you are interested to find out, go ahead and read it and see how you can resolve conflicts better in your workplace. Like my current workplace, my team, my peers, one senior manager, one assistant vice president. So they are very good friends. Used to be very good friends. Both are very competitive in nature. Both very stubborn, both the one to give way. So one day they quarrel. Over something, work differences. That was like maybe 9 months, 1 year ago. Both clash, both compete. It didn't get resolved. Both the one to give way. So my boss in the center, because my boss managed them. So what did my boss use? Which model did my boss use? Both the one to give way. So my boss used this method. She didn't confront. Of course, she talked to them, she counseled both of them. but there's no actual confrontation like you come into the meeting room, we talk, we settle, don't have. So my boss, I see for myself, she used this method. She didn't confront both of them. She just talk behind the scene, one like that, one quarrel. Then the two who quarrel used to be very good friends. Now they don't talk at all. Sit opposite each other, don't talk at all. Except for work related matter. Walk along the corridor also don't smile. Go dinner, go lunch, not say dinner. Go lunch also don't go. Last time, if you see me for lunch, right, this person will come. It come very bad, like Cold War. But my boss used this method. The problem didn't solve. Until now, it's still like that. So now it's like total Cold War. No, we never talk at all. So the original problem, the conflict is still there. It was never resolved. So to my boss, maybe to her is very trivial. Both report to me, as long as they don't bash each other up in the office, it's okay. You do whatever you want, as long as work related, you settle the issue. Remember to take your hand. Today we talk about BCP, business continuity plan. I think some of them might have heard what is BCP, talk about BCP, especially when there is a major disaster, and there is an ISO on this, on BCP planning. This is related to your project next semester. How do you do BCP damage mitigation? How do you create redundancy, contingency? Of course, if your machine don't break down, no fire, no disaster, no earthquake, no flood, no thunderstorm, then no need for BCP. But you never know when accidents happen, when disasters strike. What kind of event trigger BCP? Anyone see in a BCP committee? Some big company they have they form committee because it's required to address, to come up with it in case something really happens. Bomb threat, explosion, fire. These are your standard events that may happen to your business. Pandemic, COVID. So for those who have experienced COVID-19, BCP was triggered. I think it was triggered for most companies. How do you continue your business when there is a pandemic? So if you have an SOP, a very good SOP on pandemic flu, on of course at that time COVID-19, the thing never even created yet. So you have a very generic term like pandemic too. Before COVID-19, there was SARS. So SARS model was adopted in some, like temperature taking, declaration form data, but your temperature taking, wearing mask, sanitization, all this kicks in. Your SOP kicks in. Imagine you are running a restaurant, and first still you have a chain of restaurants underneath. You have 7, 10 restaurants. Pizza Hut, for example. Maybe Pizza Hut not very good. Kentucky. We have 20, 30 Kentucky outlets. And COVID strikes. Cannot sign in. How? How do you capitalize on your delivery? You must have some plan. And imagine that you delivery for your restaurant. You are a Chinese restaurant. Maybe you have 5 Chinese restaurants. Minimum takeaway, maybe takeaway business only 10%. Then time up COVID, 90% of your dining customer disappeared because circuit breaker. How are you going to survive on your 10% revenue for an unknown period? Because nobody knows when the circuit breaker will stop. All these are what? Training. Do you have a BCP plan or something like this? Something unforeseen, something like a disaster. So you need to brainstorm and think of whatever can happen might happen. For example, the USA president and the vice president will not sit on the same plane. Why? In the event of the plane crash, both the leaders of the company die. That's it. So that is BCP. So in their BCP, the president and the VP will never sit on the same plane together. Let's say they go into the same event. So that is their planning. So you have some kind of protocol to prevent such, just in case. So you come up with whatever events, ideas that may trigger a BCP in your company. So there are many scenarios. So for FM, for facilities management, we focus on mainly here. And maybe your supplier collapse. For example, your OEM equipment company, maybe your big, tomorrow suddenly close down. Like nowadays you see a lot of news like your chop cupcake, your F&B suddenly closed. The last one is the food massage company. Suddenly closed, supplier closed down. Or your customer collapse. Customer is your big customer. So if you are running production and your big customer suddenly, for cash flow issue, suddenly go bankrupt, affected your base, your profit. And what happened? You have a plan, a backup plan. That is for your FM. For IT, if you are in IT, cyber attack, people hack into your system. That is also one of your very critical functions. Hack into your building management system of your chiller, trip your power supply. Can happen a lot. Like what you see in the spy movie, Mission Impossible, and they go in, hack your BMS, hack your building management system. It can be done. What if a company headhunt and recruit all your key personnel will operation be affected. If you have a very good system and your operation will not be affected, then okay lah. You don't need to trigger a BCP. But if your key personnel, maybe your CEO, your CFO, and your COO all move to a new company, suddenly your top three leaders disappear, then this may trigger a BCP to continue to see how to continue your business because the top three got 800. We go through a short clip first on BCP before we continue. Because after the break, we still need to have some time to go to do our tutorial, and then we'll also brief you all on something related to innovation, I think, which I forgot to go through with you all. The one is innovation part later or brief later.
Business continuity planning is the creation of a strategy through the recognition of threats and risks facing a company, ensuring that personnel and assets are protected and able to function in the event of a disaster. So, are you prepared in case of a disaster? No business owner wants to dwell on thoughts of floods, fires, hurricanes, and other misfortunes, but the reality is that there is always a chance that catastrophes like these will strike, and every business should have a thorough and up-to-date plan in anticipation of the worst. According to a survey from INC.com, 40% of small businesses lack a continuity plan, and 2/5 of small companies do not reopen after disasters. A big problem is that many business owners are optimistic and overconfident that their companies are protected against the risk of a significant financial loss or going out of business in the event of a catastrophe. A comprehensive business continuity plan should be taken into consideration in all interruptions to normal business activity, from power outages and system failures to natural disasters or pandemics. They may also consider disasters that are unseen, such as cyber attacks and online.
Don't confuse the BCP with restoration. That means with your, for example, now got fire, big fire. The mitigation is to close the fire, and also to retrieve, to save life and property. That is your mitigation of damage control during that period of time. After the fire, how do you continue? How do you have plan B after the fire? Can you work from somewhere? Do you have a secondary office? Do you have another site? That is your business.
And hackers. Business continuity planning focuses on sustaining an organization's business processes during and after a disruption. An example of a business process may be an organization's payroll process or customer service process. Because business processes use information systems, the business continuity planner must coordinate with information systems owners to ensure that BCP expectations and IS capabilities are matched. More than ever, insurance providers are requiring businesses to present some form of a business continuity plan as part of their due diligence procedures before underwriting policies. This, combined with the risk of losing an entire enterprise following an emergency, should be an incentive for companies across all industries to create and maintain a business continuity plan. Raybot's information security team works with businesses at all stages of the disaster recovery and business continuity planning process. Our associates work with key stakeholders within an organization to build and test their business strategy. Raybot also conducts necessary employee training and provides thorough documentation of all the processes.
Now, loading consultant, now need ChatGPT, need AI. You just put in whatever question you have. The AI will generate a list of acceptable responses to your question. So I think somebody asked for the aircon API. So I mean, based on experience, yes, I do have some information. but I took the shortcut way. I just key into the chat GPT, which I always use. I come up with a list of 7, 8 different responses. And from there, I see, okay, maybe 85% is more or less there, practical, reasonable, logical. Of course, some of the 10, 15% a bit maybe difficult to implement. Customer service, planning of schedule, which is expected. So that one I set aside. And I use it for our upcoming tutorial discussion. Then, yeah, so we can all learn from here. The more questions you ask, the more we learn. So, aircon KPI was not a topic that I will want to talk about previously. I use the elevator, the lift example, because most of our building, I think all of our building got lift, so I use lift. But all of you all may not be familiar with aircon because some of you are doing something else, probably exact building maintenance, not the aircon portion. So I use that. But we can all continue to use AI to help in our cost of work. Last time don't have. Last time when I say, I only say go and Google. Now very easy. So you don't need consultant. If you want to do a BCP, let's say it's a project, do a BCP plan for your premises. You just put in, then you, from there you fine tune. Normally, the BCP community will also comprises of other departments. Your finance, your IT, your procurement. If you look at this, it's not what you do, but it's what the company do. The FM portion is probably only until somewhere here, facilities management, and maybe some of it. The rest, maybe this one thing, HR. You need HR, work, team A, team B, work from home. You need this one to come in, your healthcare, your pandemic flu. You may need a temp worker, for example, temporary worker, or your headhunting or your key personnel. These are HR problems, not FM problems. Your financial implication, your exchange rate, is finance. So a lot of people hedge USD, depend on what your company do. Let's say you are manufacturing, buy goods. So a lot of companies use USD as a guide. At 1.35 exchange rate for SGD. So imagine you have major customer, you deal a lot with US or Europe, all using USD. Imagine the USD crash from 1.35 half price become, or only half price become $1, become same rate as Sing dollar. That is your 35% loss. 35% loss. More than your 1 year profit. Which company earn 35% per year? More than your 1 year profit, that's it gone. That is what. Then trigger a BCP guide. How will you manage this kind of financial risk? Your IT, people hack into your IT server. Yes, they trigger a BCP, but FM, your facility management, your duty is to make sure your power will aircon to your server room. That's all. What happened to your server room? That one is IT man. Cannot blame facilities management for people hacking into your server room, right? Your IT server. But of course, you can blame the FM if your IT room is not secure. Security is under you. So you have a lot of partnership, stakeholder in BCP planning. It's not only that. So here we talk about COVID-19, that is cause for BCP. Uh, that time, that time I was not in the committee, so I only wait for instruction. Big boss, all the different heads will sit in the meeting room and discuss and plan what to do. We have a lot of foreign workers, so lockdown of the dormitory, etc. And the one is affected. Because the worker are locked down, we can't report to site. Then we face what? We face liquidated damages. I don't know whether I told you all the story. The same day where dormitory was locked down, company dormitory, we had about 100 over workers there. And somehow we managed to, we heard some rumors that we have some sources that police is going to lock down the Tampines dormitory on that same day. Because I think one of the dormitory already locked down due to COVID. So we had some warning that other dormitories may be affected. And that is dormitory where we have majority of workers, under-over workers, might be affected and locked down that day. We received the news that in the afternoon, 2 p.m. class. Before lockdown, what happened? You see what? You see police. So you have a few police cars standby outside the dormitory. That is one of the signs that confirm will be affected. And then you see a lot of government official, your the kind of I don't know, NDA or something. You have more people coming in to check with the dormitory operator. So at 2 p.m., most of the workers are outside working, unless those who work night shift then sleep in the dormitory. So those who are sleeping in the dormitory, they have first-hand information and saw more and more police cars coming. So what happened is we got news, and if the dormitory is locked down, let's say you have 100 workers gone the next day, cannot be deployed to the site to work. So what our procurement did, we call for emergency meeting. Those who are outside the dormitory, that means working 1 hour, release 1 hour earlier. That means instead of 5 p.m., finish work at 4 p.m., go to the dormitory, go and pack, go and collect all your passport, your belongings, get out of the dormitory. So by 5, 6 p.m., more and more police cars outside the dormitory. Then you see those big fire SOC, the big truck, the big police truck, the anti-riot team all coming more and more. So confirm already, very concerned like fire evacuation, because some of the workers are still inside. Once the police give signal to lockdown means lockdown, they have not come out at all. So those who have not, maybe afternoon shift one, maybe 1 p.m. go out, afternoon shift until 9, 10 p.m. Their clothes, their passport, all still in the dormitory. So ask the friend to collect. So we have so many dormitories, so many workers, and myself, I take care of, let's say, 10 buildings. I don't know where my foreign workers are deployed, as in stay in which dormitory. We don't really care. We don't really have visibility. We only know that this guy, Mr. Bala, come to work on that day. That's it. Make sure he turn up for work. Make sure we don't get LD. But I don't know where he stayed. I don't know which dormitory he stayed. So on that day, HR also very busy. Because sometimes, people change address or that. So we got a list, we do roll call. Check every foreign workers that you have under your care. make sure they are out the dormitory by 6 p.m. And then arrange for transport, arrange for accommodation, procurement do. Within 1 day, 100 over workers evacuated from the dormitory, stay where? Various hotel. Yeah, hotel. Because no more dormitory. So some hotel will be one budget hotel, a lot. All the hotel were almost full. Procurement arranged. Don't care about the cost. Because the LD cost and the disruption to the work is much more disruptive than no worker. Of course, the settlement, the LD, that one is the operator, the client. So the workers were deployed to the hotel. What happened the next day? So the part one center, what happened the next day? How the worker from hotel A go to work site? Because they're not commuting, no transport. The logistics is a nightmare. So we settle the accommodation logistic. The second day is the transport logistic. Until I have to fetch worker to site. Because I HQ staff, so I fetch worker to site. And then we also try to deploy worker whereby they can walk or they can take taxi. At that time also cannot, a lot of distancing, contact tracing, even take taxi, have to know which taxi number he take in case got COVID. A lot of nitty-gritty processes that we need to take care. We don't talk about the claims. So taxi also then carpool, who share with who. Wow. That was like the easiest period of my entire career during COVID-19, during circuit. Then the logistics from the mask, the thermometer, every site asking for thermometer, sanitizer, not enough masks. So all rely on HQ. So if you don't have a PCP, then it will be really firefighting, no plan. On the spot, come up with certain SOP to help to resolve the problem. Okay, so this slide talk about the processes involved in coming up with PCP. We can stop here for 10 minutes break. We come back at 7:50. Yeah, 7:50.
是